Live from New York, it's a show that has to apologize right off the bat.
Yeah.
We are sorry as a group, but mostly your fault.
This is why, this is a good reminder of why it's important to have a committee.
Okay.
Tiers has a committee. Tiers has a committee. Mahomes Mountain is a solo enterprise. And as you guys can tell, I've been a little on tilt this week. We made an error. We forgot to include a starting quarterback. He happened to be the #1 pick of the draft. Cam Ward was nowhere. Imagine being a Titans fan and seeing, oh, Cam's not off the mountain. Then they see row 7. They're like, oh, he's not a row 7.
Damn right.
They're like, oh, I thought that one drive was pretty good, but not this good.
All the way to the top. Like, oh
they're
my
like,
God.
wait, oh,
It's going to be Stafford and
and then it's just he's not there. I sincerely apologize. It's embarrassing. Now
where was he supposed to be?
Off the mountain,
Okay.
but still, he should have at least got his headshot on.
we apologize.
We got to talk more Cam Ward.
Well, we just did. We led the show.
Yeah,
right.
I love Cam Ward.
Oh yeah, you picked him to go to the playoffs. Yeah, there you go.
You know what? With an asterisk.
Okay, let's
I
start
actually
the show.
picked Denver to go.
You didn't.
Yes, I did.
You didn't.
Yes, I did. Start with the Kings Court. LeBron's debut marked the start of his 23rd season. Played 29 minutes, had 11 points, 12 assists. Lakers scored 140, most this year. How impressed were you by LeBron's debut?
Well, first of all, if I may just respond to something he said, because there was a lot of chatter about LeBron's disposition during the first game of the year.
Good point.
About him sitting there. And I thought the chatter was ridiculous, but I did think his disposition was odd. And then you saw really shortly thereafter his disposition changed. And I think he gave us a little window into what that was about, which was he was bummed. And we talked about at the time that he'd never missed a Christmas Day game, never missed a playoff game, never missed an opening night. He's sitting there like, damn, I don't know how many of these I have left, and I'm missing this one. However impressed I was, we can show you the records, and I think these will hold in perpetuity. That's all-time ranks for a year 23. All-time leader in year 23, minutes, points, rebounds, assists, and steals. Not the game for a season. Already done. And by the way, it goes in line.
One steal.
We're right, one steal. It's year 22 ranks, by the way, he's first in everything. And year 21 ranks, he's first in everything. So he's just...
Isn't Vince the only other player to play 22 years?
22, yeah, exactly. So, again, it's a small... And nobody's ever played 23. But in all seriousness, to me... there is an odd statistical story to his game yesterday and his season, what it could be. Because, listen, I think what LeBron cares about more than anything is winning. But I also do think he has historically cared about his numbers, the way every great player across NBA history has, and certainly cared about his accolades and awards and, stacking those things. Because there is nothing left to accomplish in the counting stat stuff. He passed Kareem. He's not going to get to Stockton and assists. Like, he is where he is in counting stats. And because he is essentially already ineligible for any end-of-season awards, All-NBA, MVP, votes, considerations, I think he is far more likely to be really at peace playing that style. Oh. That's the fewest shots he has ever taken in a game he did not leave with an injury. Last night, in 23 years, that is the fewest shots he's ever taken in a game. Right, and it's not like he played 15 minutes. Now, I do think he will try to make sure he keeps that double-digit scoring streak alive.
And he ain't going to average 11.
Right, no, and I don't think he's going to, but you understand what I mean? Like,
I hear you.
I think that there is whatever kind of devil on your shoulder of, man, like, I still can be all first team all-NBA. Let me show these guys what I can do, might be quieted by the fact he could average 40 a game and not be first team all-NBA because he's not going to hit the minimum games threshold, which allows him, Brew, to be as good of a connector, IQ, Swiss Army knife as we have in the league in year 23 or not. So that, to me, was my takeaway from a very pass-first, hey, I'll hang out in the corner, do what you need me to do, joyful LeBron last night.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think that makes a lot of sense. First thing is, year 23. Nobody's ever played 23 years. When you think about guys like loving the game, like Jordan and Kobe are who comes to mind for most people of recent, basketball viewing. Magic and Bird maybe a little while ago. But that's part of like Jordan and Kobe's whole legend. Oh, they wanted it so badly. They loved it. People don't think of LeBron as that type, having this insatiable, thirst to win and compete and play the game and all that. But to play 23 years, particularly at this level, to do all you have to do in the offseason, during the season, to get ready to play 23 years, and when you've accomplished all that he has, 4 championships, 40,000 points, only player to do that, like all the individual things he's done, to still have the hunger, you can't say anybody loved the game more than LeBron. You really can't. Now, again, people would think Kobe, Jordan. You can't say it. To play for 23 years, it was like Joe Flacco. I heard Dominique Foxworth on ESPN say, I want to love something as much as Joe Flacco loves football, or I don't love anything as much, something like that. And so you have to, LeBron has to be included in those guys that just love the game. And I don't think people have thought of him that way.
Love of the game power rankings?
He's
no,
up
I'm
there.
Going through. I'm like, who loves the
right,
game?
but I mean, am I wrong?
No,
people
to your point on
Jordan
23
and Kobe
years, I think he now has played more. I think he is now at the same number of years played as Bird and Magic combined.
Well, I think Bird played 13, Magic
And
I think played
10.
12.
Oh,
12.
I was leaving.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's one shot. I'm not counting Magic's
Comeback. Yeah, that was only a few
comeback.
games.
And so, but that's. I mean, that's Jordan played 12
15.
full seasons with Chicago.
Right.
12, and so that's. But go ahead.
Yeah. As far as last night, what struck me the most was the joy he was playing with. I haven't seen LeBron on the court like that, with that much joy. Like, I've seen him in the locker room, at practice, joking with players, things like that, looking like that. But on the court, it feels like, we got to be honest, throughout LeBron's career, there's been this narrative. Some of it he created, some of it others have created, just that because he has to win championships. He has to top Jordan. Just championships overall, whatever it be. There was almost a feeling there's this burden on him. And that kind of sometimes spilled over into the team. You heard KD say, people, it's not fun playing with LeBron. Mm-hmm. The pressure of playing with LeBron. A lot of that was because there was so much pressure on him. He put on himself and others put on him to be Jordan and reach Jordan and top Jordan and all that. And last night, some of maybe what you said, but he had this joy. He just looked like he was happy to be out there. It was like Magic Johnson, the joy he played with, smiling all the time. And on top of that, he played a lot like Magic Johnson. He had 6 assists. 6 of his 12 assists came in a 3.5-minute stretch. Yeah. Actually, a little 3 minutes, 15 seconds. He had 6 assists with Luka on the bench. So one, it shows you for the Lakers, when Luka's out, LeBron can cook and keep them, in the lead or the score the same. But also, to your point, Nick, if he averaged 18, 9, and 9 or something, that might be just what the doctor ordered. Now, I don't think they're OKC or Denver necessarily, but because he still can probably get you 20-something a night if he wants, if he plays like he did last night, obviously he's going to score more than that. That's infectious. You saw it last night. They were overpassing. The ball was moving. Yep. LeBron set that tone by passing himself. And throughout the season, if he has that attitude, I think that will spill over to everybody and be contagious. There'll be a lot of ball movement. Look, if LeBron, he's clearly their second best player. But I don't know that he necessarily needs to be the second leading scorer. If it's Austin Reeves averaging 24 and LeBron's at 18, 9, and 9 or something, that might be good.
I don't know that will happen. I totally agree that would be great. because LeBron can just help the team out in so many ways other than scoring, in ways that Austin can't right now. Go ahead, Kate.
Lakers ranked last in passes per game. I didn't know that until.
Well, last night it looked like that ball was.
And they looked great. How much of this do you think was the Jazz, where it's like, all right, a lot of joy playing against. A lot of teams have joy playing against the Jazz.
I mean, some certainly, and I agree with. Listen, right now it feels to me like the whole league is kind of at OKC's mercy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that they're gonna have some bad luck or something weird, and so it feels hard for me to talk about any team other than maybe Denver because of Joker as a contender with them existing. But Luka playing at the level that he is, and then seeing what version of LeBron we get makes them intriguing. And I get people can think I go over the top at times, and this is my favorite athlete in the history of sports. I do sports for a living. But there's just so many things, and when you're talking about how much he loved the game, what I was thinking about is how certainly no one has given the game more. Just literally, from like a minutes and amount of time spent, working for the NBA. And there are things that I'm just still, that just pass under the radar that I find remarkable. Like last night, LeBron James, who when he came into the league, the biggest knock and fairest knock on him was amazing at X, Y, and Z, not a really good shooter.
Right.
And in fact, daring to shoot. Last night, he passed Reggie Miller in threes for his career. Like that, and I understand he's played longer. I'm not saying he's a better shooter than Reggie Miller. It's not my point. But it was a huge deal a few years ago when Steph Curry was going to pass Reggie Miller. Reggie was at because it's like, man, that's the greatest three-point shooter ever in Reggie, and Steph, who's the greatest of all time, is passing him. LeBron is in year 23 and instantly comes on the court and it's like, oh yeah, he's still, like you said, so he's not as good as Luka. He's the second best player on the team. He has the ability to dictate the pace and tempo and everything of a game. And he said, and people didn't like it, Brew, but he said a couple years ago something about, I don't remember what question he was asked, but his answer was everything's extra credit at this point. Do you remember that? And he was like, no. He goes, at this point, it's all extra credit. And people can disagree with that. But he's gotten to play with his son. He passed Kareem's record. He's won a title with every franchise he's been with. If he has the freedom of, and he finally now doesn't have the pressure of, man, I have to be the best player on this team. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, for us to win, I have to be the reason. If that allows him to play with a freedom and, to your point, a joy we haven't seen before, I'm excited to see what it looks like.
All right, turn our attention to the Chiefs' huge game for Kansas City. It sits at 5-5, hosts the Colts, who have the best offense in the league. They're averaging 32 points a game. Mahomes leads the 9th best scoring offense. Brood, how much pressure is Mahomes under to keep up with the Colts?
Oh, I think it's the most pressure he's ever faced in a regular season game in his career. I think their worst record, Nick, was back in 2021. They were 3-4.
They were 3-4, and then that was they escaped against the Giants, right? And then they had the pass heard around the world against the Packers. But they didn't play well in those games. Right. But they won them, and they went on a run. Streak. Yes.
But 3-4 is still so early in the season.
It's different than 5-5.
Yeah, so this is the most pressure he's faced because it's the first time it's a real threat that they could miss the playoffs.
Correct.
But beyond that. And he's having certainly a better year than the last two. But it's not your vintage type of Patrick Mahomes season. Mm-hmm. I think I have a graphic where it shows where his ranks. Okay, so passer rating, right in the middle, completion percentage, which, not a huge deal, but still. Yards per pass, 12th. The passing yards are a lot, but that's about it. Touchdown to interception ratio is right in the middle.
Can I show you a counter graphic to see how you square it?
Yeah.
And I'll let you keep going. So here's passing yards, he's second. Total yards, he's first. Total touchdowns, he's third. Touchdown to turnover, he's fifth. So he has not been wildly efficient. Well, you know what I mean? Which is the completion percentage and the passer rating. Also, he doesn't get credit in his passer rating for the rushing touchdowns, which is, helping here. But obviously, they are, whether they're not tush-push touchdowns. I know those count the same, but they are,
No, but his have been.
They felt like they've had some heft to them.
Yeah.
So I agree. It doesn't feel to me like he's having a vintage Mahomes season, but I do feel like
he's not having a bad year, but he's not having a best quarterback in the league year.
I agree with that.
And you know this. I'm not belittling total yards. But, you know, Daniel Jones, I think, leads the league in yards, passing yards. So a lot of times passing yards can be deceiving, you know, because if your team is down or you're just a team that throws a lot. That's why, like you said, I like yards per attempt a lot because that really shows something different. But my point is this. If they miss the playoffs, and certainly if it's Josh or Lamar finally gets to the Super Bowl, I think going into next season, a lot of people will be saying, people have already alluded here and there to it, but that he is not the best quarterback in the league anymore. Now, I still, with his pedigree, I don't know that I would go there, but I think a lot of people will be like, he's not the best quarterback in the league anymore. They didn't even make the playoffs, and Josh Allen won the Super Bowl or whatever it might be.
Can I say something about that? I think that would be fair. I think it is outrageous how many people right now say Josh Allen's better than Patrick. I think in this moment, right here today, it's an outrageous opinion because it's the same people that were saying it last year, and then again, and I know some people hate this, they played each other, and once again, Patrick outplayed him in the biggest spot. But if the Chiefs miss the playoffs, and if the Bills make the Super Bowl, that, to me, is fair if you're like, hey, there's different conversations about ranking quarterbacks historically and who is the best right now. And so, like, nobody in their right mind is going to argue that any active quarterback after this season, except for, I guess, maybe Aaron Rodgers, if they were to go on a run and win Super Bowl, passes Mahomes in the historical hierarchy. But if they... To your point, if one of those guys who's won MVPs wins a Super Bowl and Patrick's team misses the playoffs, then I think that is fair. Like I would disagree with it. I think he's the most talented player in the history of the league, but that to me is fair. And one of the reasons I think Mahomes' stats are maybe more impressive than you, because you mentioned Daniel Jones in the yards where he's with him. Yeah. The Chiefs' offense, for good or for bad, is Patrick. He is their best rusher. You know what I mean? Daniel Jones, to your point, has the opposite of that in Jonathan Taylor. And I do think he's had back-to-back bad games. There's no denying it. And the Chiefs, he hasn't made a lot of mistakes this year, but the mistakes he's made have been costly, which is unlike last year where where he made maybe more mistakes, but none of them cost him, and so the water's found its level there. But the only comp I would have for this weekend's game is a game that we have kind of forgotten, which is the year that the offense seemed truly broken with all the drops, and they got blown out. They lost on Christmas to the Raiders. Mm-hmm. They walked into Week 17 knowing that week, if they lose and Denver wins, we're not leading the division anymore, and there's 1 week left. And so and they were playing the Bengals with Jake Browning, actually. And that was, if you guys remember that game, that was the game they kicked 6 field goals. The offense still didn't look really good, but they escaped with a win, locked up the division, and then went on to win the Super Bowl. So they have had a few precarious spots.
You're saying that's the only one that's close.
That's the only one that's close.
But not equal to
No,
this.
I think this is the biggest regular season game of his career.
Can I show you a headline from The Athletic? It took me by surprise as we've tried to unpack the why the Chiefs are mediocre, since a lot of the numbers are better. The 2025 Chiefs are trending to be one of the most unclutch NFL teams ever, and the true media stats are the score is within 8 points either way, final 5 minutes, no kneel downs. This is from Jesse Newell. The Chiefs offense had 11 snaps in the close and late scenario detailed above. On those plays, Mahomes is 2 for 10 passing for 29 yards and a sack.
Yeah.
So those used to be the, you gave Mahomes too much time. And he hasn't been, he's been less than Mahomes.
He's been bad. And on top of that, the stat that Scott Kazmir had that I used yesterday, the defense in the opposite of those situations. Close, late, have a team in 3rd and 10 plus, didn't give up a single one of those last year, and they've given up 4 already this year. So, so
what do we think the why is? Certainly Mahomes is clutch. It's not like he lost his clutchness.
I think it's what'd you say? It's 11 plays?
11, yeah, 11
Yeah, you know
snaps.
what I mean? It's as simple as the 3rd and 2 with the game tied against Denver.
Yeah.
Broussard Smith, their 7th-round rookie, who I like, is open in the flat. He keeps going upfield. You know what I mean? It's just and the pass. Mahomes thinks he's going to flatten out, and it's like, okay, that one little, the one little bit. And that's, I want to make this, I will keep saying this. I don't think that is unlucky. I think because I was on here last year saying this team isn't lucky, they know how to win. This year, they're not doing those small things. The Jawan Taylor's illegal formation, that 2 plays later, instead of having 1st and goal from the 2, it's a pick for Denver. Like the margins have been that thin, and what I think the other thing that's hurt them in the clutch categories, the games when everything's rolling, there's no clutch moments because their wins are all blowouts.
Yep.
So, when the offense is really humming, they haven't had the opportunity to help
the
their
weird
clutch
part.
stats.
When you do that point differential thing, like, well, they lost 3 more games.
Right.
So but it helps your point differential stat. I think we're going to go to break. Let me talk to Dusty. No, we're going to do Eagles-Cowboys.
Yeah.
You're in for some bonus first things first here. Eagles 3-point favorites in Dallas. Dusty, again, asking me to dust off my one team is scoring, the other team is boring mantra. Not sure I'm going to do it, but the numbers might warrant it. Cowboys average 2nd most points. Eagles are at 16th. Total yards 25th to 3rd. Opponent's points 31st to 8th, so the defense is good.
The Eagles being 25th in yards is stunning. That's
Is it, though?
stunning. Yeah.
Not.
It's not stunning having watched the games.
Yeah.
It would have been stunning going into the year.
Yes.
To hear that they're going to
Watching the games like 25th, I could see 27th.
Stunning.
Do you think the Eagles are vulnerable to a Cowboys upset?
Absolutely.
Ooh.
Not because the Cowboys have arrived. Oh, the defense is back.
But?
No, not because they're better than Philadelphia. Just because this is an NFC East game in Dallas. And look at Dak Prescott's numbers against the division and the Eagles at home. Career numbers.
This is an old eye
21 and
graphic.
2. Yes. 6-1 against the Eagles. And beyond that, I mean, the Eagles have won 4 straight. They have been struggling. They're going to lose 2, 3, 1, 2, maybe 3 more games this year. Sure. And so I don't think if Dallas beats them, which I think is very possible, I don't think a lot of people will think, oh my gosh, the Cowboys have arrived. The Eagles are in trouble. I won't think that. I think it's the NFL. Yeah, I think it's the NFL because I just saw these Eagles lose to the Giants a month ago. So it happens, and I think it's very possible it would continue to give the Cowboys life and hope. And for the Eagles, maybe it would be crazy because of their situation with A.J. Brown, but this is the NFL, any given Sunday.
So, listen, I think that the Cowboys all year, I have felt that they can beat anybody. When your offense that good, you can beat anybody. You can also lose to anybody with a defense that bad. Now, the defense appears a little bit better. So I agree with you. 3 points line is,
Yeah.
not a significant line. So I agree with your take. Here is where it would be more meaningful to me, Brew, potentially. This Eagles offense has looked, let's call it, unsteady and herky-jerky all year.
Fair.
I do think it is on the board that it looks even worse without Lane Johnson. And that would concern me greatly. That if they were a team that was already leaking oil offensively and dealing with some discontent because of it, if now they're like, man, we don't even want to call a lot of drop back passes because we don't want Jalen to get lit up. Like that element of could this Eagles offense have one of its worst performances when we've seen some bad ones, that would be highly concerning to me. And I think because of the lack of Lane Johnson, and it's not a short absence he's going to be out for, that's a real concern.
Raven star Kyle Van Noy with us now. Before we start, Kyle, we wanted to play Brew's tepid enthusiasm after another Ravens win. Take a listen.
The box! I gotta be honest. I actually moved a little further away from the robe yesterday.
Wow!
I almost took the Jordans off. A win in the NFL is a win. And every win is tough and hard to come by. So, with that said, I will take the win. The robe, not yet. That's for darn sure.
I thought it was a good win, bro.
It was a good win. I'm just waiting for the perfect moment, Kyle. I haven't worn this bad boy in a month, and I can't wait to put it on my bones. But I'm waiting for the perfect, in a few weeks, I think it'll be ready. It'll be ready. Now, here's the thing. Welcome to the show, of course. Great win. 2 weeks ago, I tried to sell you on T7. Okay. The toy toss that transformed the tacklers. Now, you shot it down, and I get it. You don't want to count your chickens before they hatch and all that. We had some work to do. But I want to show you a graphic. You've been doing the work. Look at this graphic, Kyle. I mean, that is incredible. The difference since the toy toss that transformed the tacklers became official. Mm-hmm. I mean, congratulations, you guys. Props to you guys. So are you ready to accept T7? I mean, evidence is clear as day.
Brew, let's just say hell no to that, all right? But what I will say is I appreciate the road getting closer. I do. And it's also getting closer on Nick because he's wearing purple today. I really that. It looks real good. Yeah. See, I waited. During the break, I waited to say something and say, hey, Nick's starting to feel a little purple in his heart, you know?
Okay.
Kyle, I'd love to throw the wonderful person who picks out my suits under the bus, but unfortunately, that's my wife. So I just have to say, listen, she's always been a Lamar fan anyway, so maybe she's working against me to a degree. But yeah, you're right. It is very Ravens-esque tie. And Wilds is wearing a Broncos tie to try to stick it to me.
I like winners.
Now that I'm
sorry.
All right. Well, back to what Brew was saying. I do like the road being closer, and I think he can wait for the perfect time and moment for the robe, and I'm just going to put that trust in him. Just don't peak too early, okay?
That's right.
That's all I ask.
That's right, and I appreciate that. Now, let me ask you this. You guys, obviously, I think a 4-game win streak. The defense, we just showed, is playing very good football. Lamar, obviously, since he got back from the injury, hasn't been himself, but I actually kind of think that's encouraging because he's going to get back to playing elite football. So is that encouraging to the team that, hey, we've been winning these games without Lamar playing at his, usual level. So once he gets there, we're going to really be rolling.
I think it's good to win a game like that. Obviously, it was a grimy game, and grimy games for us against the Browns haven't gone the way for the Ravens. So it was the first time we've swept the Browns in about 5 years, which is crazy to say because they've always given us fits and they play really good at home. We knew it was going to be a tough game in a tough environment, and they came to play. I mean, Myles Garrett went crazy. Their defense went crazy. They had a pick six, 2 other turnovers. And so they kept them in the game as long as possible. So finally, it was like a grinded out game that we came on the right side. I felt like at the end of the game, we were playing complementary football, which is what you want to win the football game. You want to be able to play defense, get some stops, and then special teams getting a stop, giving the ball back to the offense, and then able to capitalize with the touchdown. And we were able to do that in the fourth quarter, which is very, very happy for us as a team. Like, hey, if we just got to keep grinding it out, and we're going to be on the right side of things. And this week we have another challenge. I know the record is like, hey, it's not good. Let's be honest. Right. But They're one of the best running teams in the league. They're going to get a little bit of juice with Tyrod Taylor. The defense actually played pretty well against the New England Patriots on the road. So they're going to come in ready to play, and we got to do what we got to do to get a dub. And, to be honest, our last 3 home games have been L's. So we got to right the ship, get everybody pumped up at the MT Bank, and let's go.
I like it.
Kyle, you referenced
Like
Myles Garrett. Brew had him 5th on Brew's ballot yesterday for MVP. Which again,
he's gonna break the record, Kyle.
25
He's
sacks
gonna
again.
shatter the sack record.
Don't worry about the MVP piece of this, because you're not. I really kind of want you to make fun of Wilds at the end of this, because Wilds big
He's
believer
on my side.
Yeah, but you also think edge rushers don't really matter.
Well,
you're like, oh, where are all the wins?
That's not
where are all the wins? He's like, oh yeah, a whole lot of wins for Myles Garrett and Max Crosby, and this is what he always says.
I don't know. Do we have the standings?
Kyle,
I
think you play a pretty important position. But could you, as someone who's, has done what you've done for so long at such a high level, contextualize for us what it is that makes Myles Garrett historically different from maybe anyone that's played that position, certainly anyone but a handful of guys?
I mean, I think it just starts with, his mom giving birth to him. Like, the dude's a freak, right? Like, let's just start from there. I'm sure when he was 5 years old, he looked like he was 12. So let's start there. He's just a man-child of a human being. And just his athleticism just jumps off the chart. If you watch him, he aligns so wide. So he puts pressure on the offensive lineman, because you're like, no way is this dude lining this far away from me and still going to get the quarterback. But he puts that pressure on offensive linemen being that far and being that athletic, like you got to come out to the deep water. And he's going to take you to the deep end and see how long you can swim for. And he does it for 60 minutes. And you got to sign up for that. You got to be ready for that. And I think he just knows he's on top of his game. I actually do put him in a top 3 category for me of MVP this year. Wow. I really do believe if he was on a better team, statistically, he would be up there. And just because of what he's done, I mean, not only the sacks, but the pressures, the relentless attitude, the defense, you could say, is historic with the Browns. So I do put him high on my MVP list this year. I think edge rushes are important. That's why they get paid so much damn money now.
Exactly.
So it's only going to go up, because getting to the quarterback, especially in a rush 4, we saw the Eagles last year rushing 4 in the Super Bowl. It's a high priority. And if you're starting a football team right now with the edge rushers, you're picking him number 1.
Take that, Wild.
Take that. I'm not saying they are not important.
Well, it's kind of what you were saying.
Those 2 pass rushers with the Broncos are important.
Exactly.
All right, Kyle, you brought up the Super Bowl there. You brought up the Broncos.
Yeah.
It's enough.
Benito's killing
We
it.
have a nice little detente here. It's enough.
Honestly, we want to stay. The confusing part to me is when Myles Garrett played Drake May, I said, this doesn't make any sense, but I'm going to say it. He can wreck the game, and I think we're going to have no problem with the Browns. And that's what happened. I think he had 5.5 sacks, and we scored 30 points. So it was just an odd contradiction in how well he played and the fact that we had our way with the defense. That was what was confusing for me.
It happens like that. It happens like that. It's just part of the game. I think when you have a player like that playing at his level, I just want you to think about this for a sec. Last year on film, or 2 years ago, on film, he was playing the Tennessee Titans against Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel was picking up 2 tight ends and putting them on the opposite side during a play to chip them, and then Myles, as soon as they would chip, would go to the other side, and they were going back and forth until they called a timeout because they wanted to chip Myles Garrett. That's what he can do to a game. He puts the fear of a lot of things in offensive coordinators and tackles.
Kyle,
I just
you,
want him
me,
on a
and
better
Brew,
team.
we all get it.
I just
Okay,
want him
no,
on a better team. I want to see great players on great teams.
Sorry, I'm just sorry, go ahead.
Kyle, I wanted to ask you. So you guys were there. Everybody's been talking about Shedeur Sanders all year. He played against you guys. We heard a lot. So many places to go. One, we heard his offensive lineman talking about they hadn't heard his cadence before, or maybe 2 or 3 times. That lack of chemistry between them, and how can that like affect the defense? Like, was that an advantage for you guys, and you could tell it was there?
Brew, you want me to storm that flame a little bit, huh? I'll be honest, though. I'll be honest. I think you could get the cadence because obviously he's coming into the game. He does all the prep to go throughout the process. He gets thrown in the fire. I think he just wanted everything to go smoothly, operational, and I feel like he did a good job, especially in the 2-minute. I just feel like we ended up doing a better job. Cheeto Awuzie had a great play in the end zone, and then Draymond Jones has an elite get-off. And I think that's, to your point, I think it's just because you understand game on the line. You understand, it was empty, so he was trying to read the defense, and you were able to just hone in on that call, and Draymond got a great get-off. I don't want to say it was like a huge tell that you could tell. I'm not going to go that far, but I did feel like in the 2-minute on the last play of the game with the time winding down, Dre just had an elite get off. He wasn't offsides for anyone asking.
Well,
Not officially. Not officially.
Yeah. But I'm not going to light that flame, Brew. I'm going to stay away from that one.
Ravens-Jets this weekend. Have a great game. Hopefully momentum keeps rolling. We can see the debut of the robe pretty soon. Thanks again, as always.
Thanks, Kyle.
When the robe does go on, I'm coming back on the show. I want to enjoy that one.
Absolutely, my man.
Thank you, Kyle.
Y'all go get him.
First.
All right.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.